And so if you want a gamification platform, like there are only a couple.
What are they?
Well, I have one.
If somebody listening is looking at building a course right now, the other thing that I see a lot of people ask about is, where do I house my course? How do I set it up? How do I, like, what's the technical details? And I know you have used a multitude of platforms. If somebody is in the case of, they've got 5,000 people on their list, maybe they're doing a couple grand a month, what would you tell them to use? Give us some of the different options out there and why you would use each one, because I think that's a huge pain point for people.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that I'll say is it's not about the technology. So if you have a really strong learner success path, then it's about that and finding the tool that works best for that end, and what you need. So often people say, well, I need to build this thing that goes in this tool. And it's not about the tool. It's about what you're building and the experience that you want to build. So there's the course itself, and then there is the path or the journey that you're taking someone on in terms of the experience around how you want to communicate with them. How do you want to build a community? How do you want them to go through your course? Do you want them to go through it all at once? Do you want them to, go through it in different time frames based on like when they complete something or when they do an activity or whatever, right? So a lot of the way that you're going to think about what tool you need is by what experience you want to create for them. Are you going to be totally hands off? Are you going to want to have some live interaction with them? All those things play into it. So that being said, we kind of look at the tools in three different buckets. One is when you're first starting out, you're building your beta, which is something that I recommend in Learn Academy, is test your offer, build your beta, do it live for the first time. So you get the feedback from real people who are saying, oh yeah, I got that. Or, oh, these are the questions that you want to incorporate. When you're doing that, then you can use, a simple membership tool like a ClickFunnels or Members Pro or something like that, that allows you to do more of the plug and play, where you're basically recording what you're doing and putting it into a place where people can consume it. When you get to that place where you have the automated course, then it's important to think about how do you want to run that automated experience. So some other tools around those become, do you want something that you can customize? Or is it okay just to have a little bit more sophisticated of a tool that does some different things, but you don't really need to have as much control over it as a complete customized tool, right? So you have your mid-level products like a Kajabi or a Thinkific or Teachable, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're in the position where you are building a full brand around your course or your courses, where you want to create almost like a virtual hub, then it's important to think about having one place where all of your courses live, where then you can ascend people through in a way that allows you to grow and scale. That's a different solution than some of the simple tools, right? So for example, if you were to put your beta in a ClickFunnels membership site, which we could spend all night talking about all these different things, but if you were going to do that, one of the things to keep in mind is if you have a second course or a second level or something like that, then they have to log into a whole different area. Like from a customer experience perspective, like that's a pain in the butt, right? Like you don't want to send somebody 15 different links to go log into all your different things. So that becomes a factor in how you're deciding what tools to use.
Would you tell people that they should worry about that when they're just, if they have 3,000,
Nope.
5,000 people, 10,000 people, like just get the course out would be what I would think. Because you can
It's
always
not so much how many people, it's more where you are in your course build, right? So you start with your MVP, your beta, to test your offer, get it out. It's kind of like you're just getting it out. You've got the framework, you're testing the framework. In that scenario, no, I would get the cheapest, the easiest way to just get your recordings and get the experience out to your people to test it. So you're really looking at a minimum viable product. Then you're looking at how do you automate it? How do you create an experience like a 1.0 experience? That's when you're looking at a more sustainable, longer term option. And so, again, if it's, it depends on what your intention is for growing and scaling it. At that point, I would consider looking at a tool that's going to be a long-term play for you at that point. And there are so many options, depending upon budget, depending upon what you want it to do and all of that, right? Like, so for example, I teach experience design, right? So I teach gamification and how to create an experience around your course that makes it sticky. So people will complete it, right? So 97% of people don't complete courses. And that's because they're not motivated, they're not rewarded for that experience. And so if you want a gamification platform, like there are only a couple.
What are they?
Well, I have one. So WordPress is probably the best option. A WordPress base with a learning management system like LearnDash or Access Alley or something like that gives you the ability to customize your site, which means gamification, and you can add layers on top of it. But there aren't really like the plug and play options. You're not paying for customization. You're not paying for those bells and whistles. You're paying for their volume, right? You're paying for the cookie cutter solution, if you will, which is fine for
would you
most
say
people.
that is, I was going to say, that's good enough for most people. If you're
For most
listening to
people.
this and you don't have your course out yet, just use something that is quick, dirty, and easy and get it out, get a few people through it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can always move the course. It is not worth spending thousands and thousands of dollars to have something built out all crazy.